Transformational greatness. You know, we always talk about greatness and the greats. Martin Luther King, Muhammad Ali, John Wesley, Mother Teresa, Eleanor Roosevelt, Henry Ford, Michelangelo, just to mention a few of them. But what exactly is transformational greatness? Well, it is greatness that matters. The kind of greatness that leaves a mark. And one true example of that greatness is Jesus Christ, our blueprint. So what's our story? Let me tell you this story.
Oh no. Let us tell you this story. Our story.
Yes, our story.
Reverend Professor Gregory Efosa Irabo. I'm the president of Spokesman Communication Ministries and the pastor of Spokesman Sanctuary of Hope Church. I'm also a physician and a professor of medicine. I'm involved in local, national, and international leadership training and conference speaking around the world. I mentor people one-to-one and also in large gatherings.
I am Reverend Mrs. Folakemi Ayodele Erabo, the wife of General Overseer of Spokesman Communication Ministries and Sanctuary of Hope Church, Ile-Ife, Osun State, Nigeria. While I'm an ordained minister and a preacher of the word.
Look around, take a moment. Visualize this very edifice that you're seated in and cast your mind back to the past. The happenings, the doings, and due process that had to happen for this church, the Spokesman Sanctuary of Hope Church, to become the reality that it is today. The joys, the trials, and even the uncertainty. Now that's something to think about. You might ask, how did all of this come to be?
As far back as when I was 10 years old, I've been really hungry for God. I remember a particular episode in my life when I was in Lagos. I carried stones and I was kneeling on the ground, crawling on the ground, saying, God, cleanse me from my sin. Save me. I was born from a Catholic background. Very religious, very committed to Catholicism. But I never knew God as a person. But at the age of about 11 and a half years, when I went to my secondary school, which was then Edo College, Benin City, I got to receive Christ. From that day, everything changed in my life. Prior to that time, I had only one passion: to read, to study, to read and to study. It's amazing that even at my primary school, I was reading books that university students were reading. When I became a Christian, everything changed, and I was passionate about the things of God. I could best be described as someone who was fanatical about Christ. And when I left there, I was also helping in pastoring churches. And when I came to Ife, I assisted many churches as an assistant pastor, a teacher, and also a pastoral team.
Every great thing has little beginnings. We, the Sanctuary of Hope Church, had a humble beginning.
The Spokesman Communication Ministries came one morning at 2 a.m. The Lord woke me up and I had a voice saying to me, I want you to be my spokesman to your generation. If somebody was in my house in that time and the man ran out because of the episode that happened in my house that day, he said he couldn't stand it. He couldn't understand what was going on. Then I asked God, why is it that I should reach out to people? And what will I be preaching? He said I should communicate truth and bring hope to my generation. But at the time is not yet. There's going to be a time when there will be hopelessness all over the world. He wants me to bring up the message of hope. So it was then, that was the birth of the Gospel Communication Ministry. Although I have exercised trans-local ministry, that was when it came to be. And that's how the influence of that ministry became evident.
Well, when my husband started the ministry as a house fellowship, I was very much involved because I knew he has the tendency right from time to have a ministry, but the extent of the ministry may not be able to tell.
It all started out as a house fellowship in December 2, 1986 at Reverend Erabo's residence, House 17, Doctors' Quarters, Phase 1, Obafemi Awolowo University Teaching Hospital Complex, Ile-Ife.
Then I won a British Thoracic Fellowship Award, that's my field, chest medicine, and then I had to travel to the UK to further my training in chest medicine. I used to attend one church called Elim Pentecostal Church. And one of these days I was sitting down and worshiping with all the members of the church, and I just saw a big vision, an open vision. I saw crowds and crowds. And the Lord says, go back to Nigeria and start a church. Well, I considered that revelation out of course, because I've never believed in starting a church. I believe I'm called to be translocal. I'm called to preach God's words to my generation. I don't want to be localized in the church. And so, but the force to leave UK was there. So after my initial training, I had the offers to stay back, but I had to leave UK. And I came back to our city, Ile-Ife here.
When we came back, the ministry, the people in the house are already very few, very, very few. And we had to pick up as if starting all over. But along the line, my husband mentioned that he was called to be there to start a church. Meanwhile, that time when we came back, he was doing a monthly meeting, a time for change. And people will come from all places, from all churches, and it was a very successful program.
Until one evening like that, one night we slept, thieves broke into our house and took almost all the key valuables I brought from UK. Because they did this while we were all asleep, and someone said they used chloroform on us, I don't know. And then God told me, do you know what? You are holding on to things I've told you not to. Go and start a church.
We faced a lot of challenges, didn't we? Did you know that there was even a time when attempts were made to burn down the church with people inside? Imagine lifting up holy hands, lost in worship, and your mind tells you something is burning around here. And that something is the building you're currently in. We will get to that part of the story. But first, here is a little more history.
One of the days he came and said that God told him to start a church. I knew that he wouldn't be telling lies, but I wanted him to be very, very sure, because I noticed that church is another thing from doing monthly program or having a house fellowship. He told me, I prayed about it, and I felt at peace. So I had no choice but to support him with the other team members who were very supportive to start the church. And that's how the church started in Mayfair Hotel room. Then later they gave us a place, and that place was horrible. The place was like a tunnel, used disco hall. Not even a fine one, that was dilapidated.
Dilapidated building, ransacked, and everything about it was deserted.
The place was so dirty, was so rough. Pastor had to empty his own account to resuscitate that place, to make it habitable, to make it beautiful as a place that you can come in and say this is a place to worship, beautiful enough for people to be attracted, to want to sit down to worship.
And to think God gave me this thought that out of the broken pieces of your past, God can build another piece of home. And that is why we now started worshiping in that building before we actually went to our permanent site.
Do you want to know what happened after? Exercise some patience. We'll be back shortly.
There is written in the book of life, and on the palm of Jesus' hand, in the story of redeeming love, there I recognize my name. On the day I chose to trust in Him, when I turned from death to life, He was waiting